everyone and welcome to the 5th episode of skirt pattern making with Bunka Method. Today we are making a yoked skirt. If you want to classify this based on shape, it will be in the group of trapeze skirt or semi-flared ones, which we have done one before. But I thought because this has a yoke and has an inverted pleat as well, it's good to learn how to make those shapes in cloth. To make this skirt, first I bring my basic pattern for a straight skirt and remove the waistband. We can start from the straight skirt. Then I reduce the length of our skirt because I want a short skirt. First I try 19.5, then I see I want a little bit more, so I offset the pattern outline 2 centimeters more. Now that I'm happy with the skirt length, I want to see where I want to keep our waist. So you see, by turning on the measurement tool, I see my waist is at regular waistline. I want it to be above the hip bone. So with the basic circumference tool, I can determine where I want the skirt to be. I can draw a line where I want my skirt to sit. When you using this tool, you need to hold shift for that to have a straight shape. Then I measure from the top of a skirt to the line I have determined, and I see 3 centimeters difference. So that's why I offset my upper edge 3 centimeters down. So you see our skirt is a bit loose now, and that's because maybe our waist measurement is more than what we need. I select all the waistline and I see it's 42.28, while the line we have in our waist is 82.25. If we divide it by 2 or vice versa, we can double our waist on the skirt. We see that we have more than 1 centimeter ease. As you know, for the waist we only need 1 centimeter ease, so the extra amount that we now have on our skirt, we can divide it by 4 and reduce it from our waistline. First, I'm adding a point at my hip because when I change my side seam, I don't want hip line to move. So I reduce 0.32 centimeters from both front and back to have a more fitted waist. Now if I press simulate, the skirt is sitting better on my skirt, on my body. The next step is creating the yoke. As you see in our diagram, the yoke is 8 centimeters at center front and 8.5 on the side. The reason that it is longer on the side is that you have the hip curve on your side seam and you need more room at your side. So I split those points at a side seam and front, 8 at front and 8.5 on the side. And 8 on the back, center back line. Then with internal polygon tool, I draw lines for my yoke line. I see that I measured 10 centimeters, so I'm correcting it right now. Okay, now with internal polygon tool, I draw a line first, then with a V or edit curvature tool, I give it a curve. I can turn on my internal line in 3D window so that I can see the shape of the yoke on 3D window as well. It also shows the hip line, so I convert these two lines back to baselines. Then I draw internal line from the end of darts to the bottom hem. Later we want to open these lines. For the front, what I do, I extend my darts to the end of yoke line. I pick the dart end and bring it to the dart point, because when I wanna cut this point, I don't want my darts to exist on top. Then I can cut the internal line. As you see, my yoke becomes 3 pieces. Then I merge the pieces together, and the way I do it, I pick the piece I want to merge. I pick the line with edit pattern tool, right click, and then select merge. I do the same thing with the back. And merge the pieces. You see, you need to first pick the side pieces, because we don't want to change the angle of our center front or center back. So it's better to pick the side pieces and merge them to the center pieces. Okay. Now, if we want to open the front piece, we can use the fullness tool. And if you see in our diagram, it has opened it by 3 centimeters at each dart line, and 1.5 at side. I make those measurements smaller, so I open 2 centimeters at bottom of each dart and 1 centimeters at the side. I'm also removing the extra pieces I don't need. We need only 1 front and 1 back. I delete those pieces. And here I am increasing hemline at side by 1 cm on front. I don't need the internal lines anymore, so I delete them. For the back, we see we still have a small darts. So when with a fullness tool, we go from end of the dart to the bottom. We are reducing the size of the darts. Let's add 1 centimeter to the side as well. And then what we do, we measure the amount of the width of the remaining darts and remove it from the side. So I'm drawing internal lines to see how wide this dart is. I pick them holding shift. So it's 0.6 centimeters, which I will remove from the 0.84 centimeters, which I remove from the side. Now with the edit curvature tool or a smooth curvature tool, I smooth out my waist and remove those darts. Delete the internal lines as well. I need to smooth out the yoke pieces as well at top and bottom. I use the smooth curvature tool for this. This tool is very easy. You just select the first point, second point, then the blue line, and then click and drag the yellow line to have a smooth shape. I turn on the angles to make sure my center front and center back angles are close to 90. And I need to make sure these two lines, which are going to be sewn together, have similar length. If not, I reduce the length on my lower back piece to match the yoke. Now they are close enough. Now I do the same process for the front, smoothing the curves and making sure the angles are 90 degrees at center front. And I need to make sure my side seam are matching and have similar shape on the front and back, so I am matching up the side seams and make sure the bottom hems are smooth as well. This process is important for you to make sure your seams are matching and your shapes are nice. I'm also checking the grain line for yoke pieces. The grain line should be aligned with center front and center back. Okay, now that I am happy with my pieces, I can also name them. I give the name yoke, front yoke and back yoke to these new pieces I've made. The next step is to mirror the pieces and create the pleat. For the back, you see we have a mirrored piece, and for the front there is an inverted pleat on the bottom piece. So first thing I do, I create a mirrored piece for both front and back and the yoke. So I remove the extra points I had. And right click on the center back line and choose the unfold with sewing. Unfold symmetrical piece with sewing. I do it for both back yoke and lower back panel. And I reset them to 2D in my 3D window. You see our back doesn't have a center back seam, and it's apparent that there should be a zipper on the sides. The closure is not on center back or center front. I do similar process for the front. First, I wanna simulate these pieces before creating the pleat. So I reset these pieces to 2D in my 3D window. Then I turn on arrangement points on avatar and put the pieces around my avatar. So you see the front yoke goes inside the avatar, and that's because the offset amount is small. You need to change it to 65. Now it is sitting away from the avatar and less twisted or rounded. I mean, it doesn't go into the avatar. Same thing for the back. I put the back pieces in the right position. Change the offset for the yoke to 65 so that it doesn't go to avatar. Slightly changing the positions. And I check the seam lines. I see the yoke is not sewn to the front side seam, or sewn already, so no need to change those. There are some extra seams we see on the back panel. We delete them first and sew the back yoke to lower back panels and the front. The next step is to create the inverted pleat. You see it has 10 centimeters at top and it has 1 extra centimeters at bottom. The way we do it in CLO is first remove the link editing from front panel by right clicking and find that option, and then with the pleat tool we go from top to bottom, and then double click to see this box. Then we choose the box pleat and give 5 centimeters at top and 6 centimeters at bottom, because we want bottom to be more. And we see that there is 0 and 360 on the degrees. If we want the box pleat, we need to reverse those degree measurements. For inverted pleat, keep these as is. Now for every pleat, as I mentioned before, we need to strengthen the piece. So in 3D window, I reset it to 2D pattern first, then I strengthen it. And then we can simulate. And our inverted pleat is done. Now we can unstrengthen the piece, and also we need to change the grain line on this pattern because it is a little bit twisted. And you see our lines are not creased as well. First I changed the grain line by drawing a line on my center front. I need my grain line to be parallel to this line. So when I choose the grain line, I right click on it and align it with my internal line. Now if I right click on the piece and rotate to grain line direction, it will be correct. I can convert my center front line to baseline. And for the pleat lines, we need to check the fold rendering option because it makes our fold lines very crisp. So we have done our inverted pleat. The next step is to sew the pleat lines from top to whatever measurement our design is. I think it should be 11 centimeters. So we sew the outer pleat lines together around 11 centimeters, and after that we need to create the top stitch line for this seam. As you see in our diagram, it says the top stitch distance is 0.6 em from the CF line or the pleat line. So I'm offsetting my pleat lines 0.6 centimeters away, then split my internal line at 11 centimeters where we had our stitch end, and then I split the second line as well and remove the extra part. So these lines are based on your design. This is what I have created for my top stitch, and I can copy and mirror paste it on the other side. So I splitted the other line as well at 11 centimeters. Then I copy my internal line and mirror paste on the other side. I'm trying to put it at same position. Okay, this is done. Before I add the actual top stitch, I want to apply the fabric I want for this skirt, which is a denim fabric. I have chosen for this skirt, as we said, for trapeze skirt or semi-flared, we still need a very strong fabrics or fabric with stretch because it is fitted at waist and hip. So immediately you see the drape of the fabric has changed to denim. And now we can add the top stitch to our internal lines. I have created a top stitch with 7 SPI and 200 as thread thickness, and with free top stitch tool I added to the internal line. Now the next step is creating the bell loops. As you see in our diagrams, we have 5 of them, and to create those we just need to make rectangle pieces with rectangle piece or S, I draw the rectangle with the width of 1 cm and length of 4, and I name it bell loops. So now for the position of this, I right click on this piece, clone it as internal shape, and then put it on my yoke on a position that I see it's suitable, and rotate it so that it is parallel with the waistline. If you want to do this more accurately, you can offset the bottom line of yoke by 2 centimeters and put this clone shape exactly on top of these lines, like I'm doing now. Next, you copy your bell loop pieces 4 times and sew the top and bottom edge of each piece of bell loops to these internal lines. I'm doing this with the segment sewing tool. After sewing all top and bottom ends of the bell loops, you can select those and on 3D window right click and choose superimpose over and simulate. This way your bell loops go over and be sewn. Because these are small pieces, change particle distance to 5 and add some additional thickness for these pieces. This way they look more realistic. Now we want to create the belt. For the belt, I copy the pieces of yoke and just offset the internal lines. We had 1 centimeters more above because our belt is 2 centimeters wide, and then I draw an internal line for center front and center back and trace those pieces out. Same thing on the back. I draw an internal line at center back line, and with the trace tool, holding shift, I pick the internal lines, trace as a pattern, and then delete the extra lines I don't need. I'll name the center back and center front because this is important. When we want to connect these pieces together, we need to know which side is center back and which side is side seam. So the SS I put here shows that that's a side seam. So as you see, we cannot connect center front to side seam. We need to reverse this piece or flip it, then connect those pieces together. So that's why I'm naming side seam the position and center front, and then I right click on this piece and flip it horizontally. Now if you see our diagram, we can connect the back and front pieces together, and we connect them from the side seam and open up like 0.3 centimeters at some joints which are shown in the diagram. So I pick the front piece, choose the side seam by edit pattern tool, and then holding shift right click on the back piece and do the merge. And with the fullness tool, I just open 0.3 centimeters at side seam and 0.2 centimeters in the middle of the back belt piece. Okay, now it's a little bit wavy, our edges. I need to smooth them with the smooth curvature tool. Okay, now now our belt is ready. I'll apply the leather fabric I have found for this in Clo Library. Now our piece is ready. Just change the particle distance to 5 because this piece is small, and right click on center back and unfold as symmetrical with sewing. Here on property editor, I'm changing the particle distance to 5. Now for the sewing part, in 3D window I reset this in 2D position. Then if you remember, we kept the internal line. We had put 3 centimeters above the yoke line. We can sew our bottom piece we can sew our belt piece bottom edge to this internal line. This will help to have it in place nicely. As you see, I'm sewing the belt from center back to the internal line on the yoke, and from side seam to center front. Just make sure you are sewing in the right direction. Looking at 3D window will help. After sewing, you can right click on the piece in 3D window and choose the superimpose over option. And as you see, it goes right in under the belt loops, which is what we want. And only the front edges you need to sew together, which I'll do with the section sewing tool. Okay, our belt is done. The next step is to put a buckle on it. For the buckle, you can download one from Clo Library or Clo Set Connect. I have done it before, and now I just bring it on top of my 3D window. When you do that, some small icons will appear on your 3D window. You see, with that squirting, you can change the size of your buckle, and with the small icon you see on the right, it looks like a funnel, I think. With that, you can attach it to your belt. You need to play around a little bit with that tool and put it in the right place. Okay, I think everything is almost done. We can turn off our internal lines and see our skirt more clearly. There are some top stitches on the yoke which I can add. I created another top stitch with 1/8 offset from the seam line. I'll add it to my skirt pieces. After adding these top stitches to skirt, our pattern making for this skirt is done. In case you want to actually sew this skirt with fabric, it's good idea to make the yoke piece double so that you have a facing for it. But here I didn't see a reason to double the layers in 3D. I'm just adding a top for this skirt. This is the waist fitting bodice we had made before. Our outfit is complete, and thank you for watching this video with me, and see you next Saturday with more skirt tutorial with Bunka Method.